These are some football player roosters that I drew and I will paint with gouache. There are 11 players, including the goalkeeper. There are some that I just sketched quickly, but I will refine them on camera. Once the main shapes are established, the rest is just refining the shapes that look best and then adding the smaller details. This is the first one I drew, which goes to show that you should never go with the first iteration you came up with. Once you see the last one, they are much more three-dimensional. This one is a bit flat in comparison, but I still liked it. It has a certain charm to it, so I am coloring it. I am using my low-quality gouaches for all of them. I have been spending them more and more. So all these are meant to be players from the French football team. That's why I chose the rooster, because it's the animal of the team. The colors are the colors of the French flag, and also they usually have the same colors or similar in the real uniforms. For the color of the roosters, I decided to be inspired by Footix, which was the mascot of the World Cup in '98. But I am also adding some variations in the colors to some of them, so that way they will look more like individual roosters. Filling in the green took a while with these kinds of gouache. I am adding a thick line around them to make them more cartoony, just like I did in my previous crocodile video. And here we have the first one finished. It doesn't bother me that you can see the strokes on the color. I'll probably end up repainting it on digital like the last ones, just to give it that uniform look. Starting the next painting. This one is much more three-dimensional. When I was drawing the shapes, I tried to make sure I was using more geometrical shapes to give it a better 3D look. I gave him a running and calling pose, like if he's saying, "Hey, pass the ball to me, I'm free." I am still using the same colors for this one and the same green for the background. In the other ones you can tell that I ran out of the green color though. And then I did the line work with lac gouache. Pretty straightforward since I'm not doing any shading. The next ones I didn't include the painting process since it is pretty repetitive. I did start adding some variations in the color. This one I used more of a combination of red and orange for the feathers. Here's the next one. I also did some different colors for the red. It's more orange in this one. I also included the tail of feathers for some of them. They're all supposed to have them, but it depends on the pose if they show or not. This one looks angrier. He's definitely one of the defense players. For him, I went back to the primary red. It fits his overall anger pose. We have an eager and friendly pose for this one, also calling for the ball. I went with a more orange color. And you can clearly tell I ran out of my other green. It's very dark in comparison to the previous paintings. The next pose is also an eager forward running pose. He's not celebrating, although it kinda looks like it's a celebration run with the arms spread out. I did record the painting process for this one, so I'll include some of it here. Since there are so many paintings, I just decided to record the ones I truly liked. And I really liked the pose of this one, so here we are. I also went with another tone of red. I decided to use a bluer red. I just mixed in some blue to the primary red. I added more feather shapes to his cheeks too. I think it helps make him look a bit different from the rest. And like always, I left the chunky black lines for last. Here is the finished piece, and then I go back to the same editing technique for the other paintings. The next rooster is a determined one. I chose an orange color for this one. And this next one is also one of the ones I recorded. I like this pose too. It kind of looks like a celebratory pose as well, but let's just say he's encouraging the others. He's jumping in midair, and I thought it would be cute if his belly was showing a bit. I went with an orange color too, but I think that I added some more yellow just to vary the orange from the others. And I also tried to do some sort of gradient effect by making the end of the feathers a bit darker. In all of them, I have been trying to include the chicken legs texture on the legs. I don't know if you've been able to tell, but it's very prominent in this pose since it shows more of the knees and the leg. Here it is finished. I dislike how some of the paper color shows through the gouache paint, but that's more of a problem from the low quality gouache. I will fix that digitally. Here we have a sort of defense player, like he's trying to block. I like that I drew a back view. I think it adds more variety to this set. I tried to showcase the changing colors on the back feathers. The tail feathers are supposed to go from blue to an emerald green, although once I added more paint, the effect is kind of lost. It seems mostly one color, which is a shame. I also made sure to give them different color shoes between them. It's a way to show the difference even though they are all dressed the same. And moving on to the next and final character, it's the goalkeeper. The only one that doesn't have the blue, white and red colors. They usually have a neon color. I went with the neon yellow like the current goalkeeper in the real team. Although I don't have neon yellow gouache paint, so it's more of a yellow ochre mixed in with some lemon yellow. The pose is pretty standard, like ready to catch the football, but what I like about this one is that I got to draw those chunky gloves. I think he looks cute. For his shoes, I went with a pastel blue. I thought that it would be a nice mix between that type of blue and the yellow. And with this one, I am done with this set. 11 little players. It was a lot. I still want to make other teams with their respective animals, but I feel like I need a break first. Also, up to now, I haven't really done the fixes digitally yet, so I can only show them like this on this video. However, when I get to retouching them digitally, I'll post them on my social media accounts. They are very different from the type of illustrations I make normally, but it's good to have a break once in a while.